So this last video is talking about solving one-step equations with division. And a quick note, if you look at the example I have here, right, it shows x over 12 equals 3. Well, if you're thinking, well, that's not division, that's a fraction. Well, I have news for you. Fractions are division problems. Okay, a fraction is a division problem. It's how many parts in a whole, and if it's larger than that, that's when you start getting whole numbers, and with parts after it. So x divided by 12 can be written as a fraction with the first number. Whenever you have like a divided by b equals something, the first number always goes in your numerator, bottom number always goes in your denominator. Okay, so you have your divisor and your dividend. All right, so x divided by 12 equals 3. So with these, again, it's going to be a matter of looking at what is our inverse operation and how can I do these so that I'm not just doing this in my head. All right, so let's take a look at our first problem. And these I'm going to write out because they're hard to make slides for. So supposing I have this, x divided by 4 equals 13. So the big thing to think about is the information I'm getting from this side of the equation, from the left side of the equation, is I am dividing x by 4. So we always think, well, what's the opposite of that, right? What's the inverse of that? Well, the inverse of that is multiplying by 4. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 4. When I do that, I'm going to put parentheses around everything, just like I did right here and like I did over here, right? I'm not going to keep doing that, but you get the idea. So, and then I'm going to multiply both sides by 4, okay? When I multiply the top by 4, and I'm gonna write this one out, because a lot of you struggle with cancellation. So we can write 4 as a fraction of itself over 1, right? And then when you multiply it out, you just go 4 times x, which is 4x, and then 1 times 4, which gives me 4. And then over here, you just got 13 times 4, which is going to give me 52. Well, what's 4 divided by 4? 4 divided by 4 is 1. So your answer winds up being x is equal to 52. Now, another way of thinking about it without having to go through basically including that step in there and just going straight to the x equals 52 step is whenever you're multiplying something, let me write this out again. If I have x over 4 and I'm multiplying this by 4, basically I know that this is in the numerator and I know that this is in the denominator. And you can use cancellation because if you have the same thing in the numerator and the denominator, they are going to cancel each other out. And so I want you to kind of think about that when you're doing that on your way to getting these answers. All right, let's look at another one. We've got y divided by 3, or y over 3, equals 32. All right, that's a really ugly equal sign. Let's try to rewrite that. Equals 32. All right, same deal. I look at this side of the equation and I see that y is being divided by 3. So I am going to multiply this by 3. And I'm going to multiply the other side by 3. So my 3's are going to cancel. That's just going to leave me y over here. And then 32 times 3, well, 30 times 3 is 90. And then 2 times 3 is 6. So that will give me 96. So y equals 96. All right, let's take a look at another one. We have r divided by negative 4 is equal to 6. So same thing, it involves a negative, but don't let that throw you. We look at what's being done. Well, r is being divided by negative 4 on this side. So we are going to do the opposite. We are going to multiply not by 4, but by negative 4. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to multiply by negative 4. So our negative 4 is cancel over here. You get your r, and then 6 times 4 gives me 24, and then you have a positive times a negative, so that's going to give you a negative answer. So r is equal to negative 4. And then just think about it. If your original equation is r divided by -4 is equal to +6, you should be able to recognize that your r is going to have to be negative in order to get a positive answer, because it would need to be a negative for those negatives to essentially cancel each other out. All right, so that's why you wind up with the negative answer. All right, let's take a look at this one over here. We have x divided by 6 is equal to -12. So, same deal. It's being divided by 6, so we're going to multiply by 6 on both sides. Your 6's cancel out. You get your x over here, and then 12 times 6 is 72, and then negative times positive gives me a negative, and you get x is equal to -72. And again, if you're dividing something by a positive number and you're getting a negative answer, you should hopefully be able to recognize that the thing you're dividing must be negative. All right, and our last example here we're going to do is x thirds, or x divided by 3, is equal to 2/7. And this is probably one of those whoa, hang on moments for a lot of you, because you're thinking, well, I don't like fractions. I don't do fractions. But you're going to have to get comfortable with fractions, because unfortunately most of the word problems that you do in your real life when you're an adult and everything are going to involve decimals and fractions. Fractions, especially here in America, where we use that for our units of measurements for almost everything. So if x divided by 3 equals 2 divided by 7, or you can just think of it as x over 3 equals 2/7. Okay, so again, just look at what's being done on the side with the variable. X is being divided by 3, so we're going to multiply this side by 3. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to multiply that side by 3. And we know how to deal with this now. Your 3's cancel, you get x. Well, over here on this side, okay, you have a fraction times a whole number. Right? Whenever you have that, think of the whole number as a fraction over 1, and then you just multiply. Multiply your numerators by each other, and then multiply your denominators by each other. So it would be 2 times 3 over 7 times 1. And if we simplify that, 2 times 3 gives us 6. 7 times 1 gives us 7. So our finished answer is 6/7.